Hey everybody, we're doing a brand new Let's Play. You can see it's called Stanley Parable. This is a game I heard about last year and I thought it looked really interesting and I picked it up, but then didn't have any time to play it. And in the time since, I've completely forgotten what the game is about. So this will be a totally blind playthrough. I only know the fact that there was the screenshot with a guy hovering over his desk. So yeah, that's all I know about the game. So, and it seems to have a really great review, so I'm intrigued. So we're gonna do this. Let me make sure all my options are set up right. Just real quick. Now, one thing I've seen it's like that Hall of Mirrors effect. It goes to infinity in there. All right. Video. Got widescreen. Laptop. Whatever that means. I'll just leave all this. Yeah, I'll just leave all this alone. I'll leave it on default. Well, maybe we'll try it on high. How about that? I don't know. Weaver. Double buffered. That's probably fine. Filter remote try. Okay. That'll probably be okay. Okay. Alright. Back. Begin the game. You are playing the Stanley Parable. What's it about? End is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Huh. So is the beginning of the game going to be the end of the game? Loading, loading, loading. I'm not even sure what kind of genre. I think this might be a puzzle slash adventure type game, I'm thinking. But, I don't know. About to find out. I've been on a puzzle adventure game kick lately, so this will fit right in. The end is loading. My monitor's moving around on me. Click.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Well, I guess we'll just have to look around to see what's going on. Can I click on anything? No, it doesn't look like I've got any controls. There's a clicking sound when I click my mouse. Okay, I can only... It looks like the only controls I have are move. Okay.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh. I did something.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
They anticipated players doing that. Somebody's playing solitaire, it looks like. Well, I can turn monitors off. These are very old computers. Have fallen. Can I crouch or something? Oh, I can't crouch. Knowing your city. Before you can possibly know where to begin your new street vending operation, you first to know your city. All you, as an example, huh? Alright, oh. Probably not important. Who farted?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I wonder what happens if I go to the one on the right. I'll do what the instructions say, but I'm curious. If I were to go to the one on the right, what would happen? Let's do left for now. There's no outside world.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Everyone is unique. Number of slides on this slide, but rate at which charts on.
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Huh. Passive aggressive. Very nice. guess for now I'll just continue on, but I'm curious to read these things. Oh. Whatever.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Why would I? There is a reason for me to be there. I said go
Coming
up.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Keypad. Keypad. Oh, I get a cursor now. Oh, there it is.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Didn't see that open. I haven't been told to hit the button yet. Should I hit the button anyway? No. Huh. Okay. Loading, loading, loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Not going back that way.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I'll just keep following these directions. For now.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Yeah, I do.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I wonder where mine was. Almost 427, but oh wait, there we go. 427. desk is empty.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Big red button. What could go wrong? Oh, can I not? Can't press that. So I can go up there, or I can go... One, two, 3, 4, 5. Make noises. Yeah.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
What about I go back to the beginning? Maybe?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I bet this is fake.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Got an achievement. Beat the game. Uh-huh. And I'm back at the beginning. Now I assume I have to do something else.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Input received. Any other doors open? No. No? Okay. Any other computers on?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I thought it'll ever change.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Not gonna do it. I'm gonna go right and see what happens. Because that's
This
probably...
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm gonna keep doing what I'm not supposed to be doing.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
What do we build in here? Stuck up. Oh, no. Some kind of architectural plans. Ooh, key card. People drink a lot of stuff around here. Bet it's full of booze. Penalty for jumping off cargo. Do not jump from cargo lift while moving. So it probably means I do want to jump from cargo lift while it's moving at some point. Just guessing.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Oh, haven't.
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
It's like there's one direction forward. It's like once you make a decision, you're stuck with it. So I'm okay with. I can live with the consequences of my actions. Hello.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Guess I have no choice in here.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Or should I run away? Oh, we'll go inside.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Press 5 on your keyboard. I don't want to. Oh, I guess I don't have a choice. Or do nothing. Press 5 or do nothing. I'll press 5.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
What?
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I
Okay, so the game reset again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What if I'm bypassing stuff? Probably
When
not.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop. What happens if I just fall off of this? Whee!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone
Thanks.
thinks you are very powerful.
Passive aggressive much? Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I assume they have this, because, you know, what I'm thinking about right now is to try every option. I think they've already kind of anticipated that.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely
not your
have.
enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Nope.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Don't see anything here. Where does this lead? not stand on this side of fence. So many warnings. Red and blue door.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Will I eventually get a key card? Alright, I'm gonna do the blue door anyway.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Now I've got 3 options. I wonder what the other 2 do. Okay, let's take the third one. Like you said.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
I did not see the leaderboard, but... No.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sure.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
I missed the scoreboard he was talking about.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Spite
Because
you.
if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Ah,
Well, Stanley, is this any better?
Minecraft.
At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
I don't want to go through that door. I guess I don't. So I can stay here or I can go through the door. Guess I'll go through.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
It's a very bizarre game.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
And now we're in Portal.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
It's Portal without the portals.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games. And I highly...
Where did I end up? Weird. Whoops. I have no idea where I ended up. So many choices. .427, that's my room. It's different than I remember. Kind of looks like an audio board or something. Can't seem to do anything. Whoa.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
And I'm back to the beginning. This is a bizarre game, to say the least. So anyway, I think I'm gonna cut the episode here, and we'll try more options next time. We'll try to figure out more about what this is about. What does it all mean? Does it have meaning? I don't know. It's interesting. I'll give it that. It's a game about choices so far. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been part 1 of Stanley Parable.